You're 22. It's the 14th of the month. Your phone vibrates on the nightstand and you grab it before you're fully awake. Your first real paycheck just landed. $2,847.32 after taxes. You stare at the number for longer than you should. You don't move, you don't speak, you just look at it. Then you do the thing that decides everything. You either feel rich or you feel small. There is no third option. There is no neutral 22-year-old who just feels normal about a paycheck. Every 22-year-old falls into one of those two reactions, and the reaction you have right now, at 22 on the 14th of this month, in this bed, in this apartment, is a coin flip. You don't get to pick it. It's already been chosen by everything that came before. But here's what nobody tells you. You can override it. You can override it once. And you have to do it before you spend a single dollar. This is the story of the next 8 years. The only decade that compounds. The only one that decides everything, quietly, in moments you'll forget by Friday. The difference between building it and spending it. The only fork in the road that's ever real. By the end of this video, you'll see the two versions of you that walk out of your 20s. Same job, same salary, same friends, different rooms, different mornings. Same person, until they're not. You're 22 and the paycheck just hit. Let's split it. Version 1, call him Build, opens his banking app. He moves $400 to savings. He doesn't think about it. He just does it. He's read 3 articles about pay yourself first, and the articles all said the same thing, so he assumed it was probably true. Version 2, Spend, opens DoorDash. He orders $34 of sushi for himself. He earned it. He says that out loud, to nobody, and almost laughs because of how it sounds. Both of them are right, in their own way. Both of them feel justified. The difference is that one of them is borrowing from the future, and one of them is lending to it. Neither knows yet which one he's doing. You're 23. The lease is up. You have 2 options. Build moves into a worse apartment with a roommate. He saves $480 a month. The bedroom is small, and the kitchen always smells like the previous tenant's cooking. He hates it. He stays anyway. Spend signs the lease on a 1-bedroom in a building with a gym he won't use. The rent is $1,890. After utilities and the gym fee that comes bundled with the apartment, his monthly fixed costs are $2,210. He posts a photo of his living room. It gets 47 likes. The likes will stop mattering in 3 years. The lease will not. You're 24. Your friend Marcus buys a used Tesla Model 3, pre-owned, $47,000, financed at 7.4% over 6 years. He drives it to your apartment on a Saturday, and you stand in the parking lot looking at it, and you both know exactly what's happening. Build congratulates him, genuinely. Then he goes home and opens his brokerage account for the first time and puts $1,000 into a total stock market index fund. He doesn't know what he's doing. He does it anyway. Spend tells Marcus he's about to do the same thing. He goes to a different dealership the next weekend. He gets a slightly older Audi A4, 61 months at 8.9%. He posts a photo. Marcus likes it. You're 25. You start dating someone. Build dates someone who has a job he doesn't fully understand and a calmness he's never seen before. She splits the bill. She suggests cheap restaurants. She doesn't ask him what he does for a living until the 3rd date, and when he tells her, she just nods. He realizes, walking home that night, that he's never been with someone who didn't measure him by something. Spend dates someone who orders the Wagyu and then asks if he wants to split it. He says yes. He always says yes. He's good at saying yes. He spent 6 years training for it. The relationship lasts 11 months and ends with both of them disappointed in each other for reasons neither of them will admit out loud. But they both know it was the bill from the 3rd anniversary dinner. $487 plus tip. He paid. She thanked him. He smiled. They drove home in silence. That dinner is still on his credit card. He's been paying interest on it for 13 months. You're 26. Build's index fund position is now at $14,800. He didn't add to it as much as he should have, but he didn't touch it either. Compound interest is starting to do the thing where it stops being theoretical. The graph has a noticeable curve now. He stares at it sometimes, at his desk, between meetings. He's started a small side thing. He's not calling it anything yet. He doesn't want to jinx it. Spend's credit card debt is $9,420 across 2 cards. He's been making minimum payments. The interest is $134 a month. He doesn't think of $134 as a real number. Real numbers in his head are over 1,000. He doesn't realize this is exactly the calculation his bank wants him to make. He gets a credit card offer in the mail from a 3rd bank. It promises 0% APR for 15 months. He thinks, this could be useful. You're 27. This is the year the gap stops being invisible. Build buys a used Honda Civic, cash, $11,200. He drives it off the lot and feels nothing. Not pride, not shame, just the quiet relief of a transaction that's finished forever. He drives home. He doesn't tell anyone he bought a car. 3 weeks later, his side thing makes $1,840 in a single month. He almost emails his boss to quit, then doesn't. He goes for a run instead. Spend gets a promotion, a real one, $11,000 raise. He's been waiting for it for 2 years, and he wants to celebrate. So he upgrades his apartment to a slightly nicer one in the same neighborhood. The rent goes up by $700. The new car payment, the new apartment, the new gym membership he won't use, the takeout he eats every night because he doesn't want to come home alone. By the end of the year, the $11,000 raise has been entirely consumed by the lifestyle increase that responded to it. The bank account on December 31st has $87 more in it than it did on January 1st. He worked an entire year and ended up exactly where he started. Nobody warned him this is what a raise does when you don't have a plan for it. You're 28. Bill's net worth is $54,000. He's invested through one minor crash and one major panic, and he didn't sell either time. The discipline isn't a feeling anymore. It's a setting. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't have to. He gets dinner with an old friend from college, who's a doctor now, who's been making twice his salary for the past 4 years. The friend has $9,000 in savings. They both notice this, and neither says anything. Bill understands, walking home that night, that the salary was never the variable. Spend's debt is $23,400. He started moving balances between cards using the 0% intro offers. He thinks of this as a strategy. It is not a strategy. It is the financial equivalent of moving sand from one side of an hourglass to the other and feeling clever about it. He can't sleep some nights. He blames work. Work isn't the reason. You're 29. Bill is in a small apartment that costs less than his salary should justify. He drives the same Honda Civic. He eats the same lunches mostly. He's wearing the same 3 shirts. His net worth on his 29th birthday is $187,000. He's read enough now to know what comes next. He's read enough to know that compound interest is the only thing in his life that is mathematically rooting for him. He's also read enough to know that nobody he grew up with is going to understand what he did with his 20s. He's already stopped explaining it. He sits on his couch on a Tuesday. He doesn't celebrate. He goes to bed at 10:30 because he likes 5:30 a.m. now. Spend is in a slightly nicer apartment that costs more than his salary justifies. He drives a leased Audi that's 3 years into a 4-year lease, and he's already planning the next one. He's wearing a watch he financed. The watch is $4,200. His credit card debt is $31,800. He doesn't know exactly. He doesn't check. He started the practice of not checking. He's read 3 articles about debt consolidation and bookmarked them and not read them. He sits on his couch on a Tuesday. He scrolls. He orders dinner. He goes to bed at 1:14 a.m., restless. Here's what nobody tells you about your 20s. It's not the money that's compounding. It's the version of you who's making the decisions. Bill at 29 is not richer because he had a higher salary. He's richer because he became the person who, at 22, on the 14th of the month, opened his banking app before he opened DoorDash. That sequence, that order of operations, got rehearsed 84 times across his 20s. By 29, he can't do it any other way. He doesn't have to think about it. The discipline is muscle memory. Spend at 29 is not poorer because he had a lower salary. He's poorer because he became the person who, at 22, on the 14th of the month, opened DoorDash before he opened his banking app. That sequence also got rehearsed 84 times. By 29, he can't do it any other way either. The reflex is muscle memory in the opposite direction. The decade didn't reward different choices. The decade revealed which person was making them. The hardest thing nobody tells you about your 20s is this. The decisions don't feel important when you're making them. The first $400 to savings doesn't feel like the start of $187,000. It feels like a slightly inconvenient transfer that took 22 seconds in an app. The first $34 of sushi doesn't feel like the first dollar of $31,800 in debt. It feels like a Saturday night that you earned. That's the trap. That's why so few people get out of it. The math of a 20s isn't loud enough to feel real until it's already over. By the time the gap is visible, the gap is permanent. You're 22. It's the 14th of the month. Your phone vibrates. Your first real paycheck just landed. You have a choice that won't feel like a choice. You will probably make it without noticing. You will probably forget you made it by Friday. 8 years from now, on a Tuesday, in a room you don't know exists yet, The choice you're about to make right now will be done multiplying. You will look around the room and you will know. The build version doesn't begin with money. It begins with the small, ugly act of being slightly meaner to yourself for 84 months in a row. The spend version doesn't begin with weakness. It begins with the small, reasonable act of being slightly nicer to yourself, 84 times, until nicer becomes a financial position you can't get out of. Both versions are kind to you. Only one of them is kind to the version of you who answers the door at 29. That's the only rule of your 20s. Build it or spend it. The decade is going to compound either way. The only question is what?